ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. We're going to start this morning's session by asking you 2 questions. Raise your hand if you'd like some more income in your life right now. And if you would like to experience financial freedom for you and your family at some time in your life, raise your hand and say, I! Aye. Do you know what? I've heard people get more excited about their tax returns than you just did. Let's try that again. Financial freedom, raise your hands and say, aye! Aye. That's more like it. Now, I don't know why you showed up here today because we've not met. I don't know you and I don't know your lives, but maybe you are sick of working for somebody else. Maybe you're sick of making them money and you'd like to make some money for yourself instead. Maybe you're working really hard and you are earning a decent amount of money, and actually what you'd really rather do is spend some time doing the stuff that you want to do with your friends and family, all the stuff that you love. Maybe you're actually achieving quite a lot of success in your life right now. Maybe you're a business owner or you've got a great career and you're throwing off a bit of cash and you're sick of seeing really rubbish returns on your cash in your investments, and you'd like to find a way of increasing the return on the investment you've got in cash. Possibly you're already a property investor. Maybe you've dabbled and you've fallen over and you'd like to get restarted. Maybe you've dabbled and it's not really worked all that well for you. You'd like to find another way. Or possibly you've already achieved a certain amount of success in property investing and you'd like to look at some other methods to move your portfolio forward. Perhaps you just want to get some income in your life right now. You want to know how to get started with this whole property investing stuff. Now I want you to imagine, please, that you woke up this morning and you were completely financially free. In other words, you could do what you want, when you want, with whoever you want, as much as you want, with no restrictions. In other words, you didn't just have the money, but you also had the time to spend that money on the stuff that you wanted to do. You know, maybe this is for your kids or your kids' kids. Maybe your kids are really important to you and this is why you want to do this. And you've become a role model for them when you're financially free. So you're teaching them and you know that their lives are going to be taken care of when you've moved on. Imagine that for a moment. Financial freedom. Now, I think you'll agree with me that if you're somewhere over here right now and you want to be over there, you're going to need a new plan, yes or no? Yeah, well, yes or no, guys? Yes. So today we're going to be talking about property being that plan. You see, for hundreds of years, people have aspired to be landowners, people have aspired to be property owners. But for the last 85 years in the UK, on average, property prices have gone up 7.9% per annum. On average, over the last 85 years. That includes all the downsides, all the dips, and the upsides. Even with Brexit on the horizon, we have a population the size of Southampton, net migration coming to the UK every day, every year. We have a million house shortfall in the UK right now. We're an island, we can't build any more land. So all of these pressures on property is what keep the prices going up consistently. Year after year after year, and that's where the opportunity is to make great money and to become financially free with property. So I'm guessing, even though I don't know you, I'm guessing that you turned up here today because you want to take maximum advantage of that opportunity. If that is true, raise your hands for me and say aye. Aye. Great. So, in order to do that, we need a system, we need a process. What we're going to be talking about today is the proprietary system and process that has been put together by this guy, Aaron Curry. Now please raise your hands if you already are familiar with who Aaron Curry is. Raise your hands for me. Nice and high, please. Okay, so not as many as I would have hoped, maybe about a third to a half of the room. So would it be okay if I told you a little bit about Aaron so you understand how this proprietary system that we've put together would help you? Would that be okay, yes or no? Yeah. Because I think it's important that you understand what it is that I'm going to be talking to you today and what the background is of all of this information so that you can understand how it can help you in your lives. Aaron is the founder of the Insight Group and Made Easy Education. He's been He's been investing in property for more than 2 decades. That's for himself and his wife, Lady. And as a result of that, he now has over 200 of his own properties. Now, do you think that somebody who's got more than 200 of their own properties might know a little bit about property investing? Yes or no? Yes. So raise your hands if you'd like to learn from this guy directly. Raise your hands, please. You're going to learn some of the stuff from him directly today through me, but I'm also going to give access to some of you. I'm going to give access directly to Aaron and his teachings. Not only is he an investor with 200 of his own properties, but when he became financially free, he decided he wanted to help other people become financially free as well. So more than a decade ago, he started with the Insight Group helping people just like you build outstanding property portfolios and getting them to financial freedom. We've helped our investors, clients and ourselves to buy over 1,000 properties, and right now, as we stand at this moment in time, we're buying 40, 45 properties a month for our clients on Done For You. So I think we've earned the right to be stood here in front of you today. He's financially free. And I think you're probably guessing by now, he's a pretty wealthy guy. He can do pretty much anything he wants. He's on holiday right now. He takes a lot of holidays. Who already feels like they hate this guy? But let me tell you, this is really important. It wasn't always that way. Many years ago, he was sat exactly where you are. But let me tell you what his circumstances were when he first started. When he first realized that he needed to get out of that pain of not having enough money, he was a self-employed mortgage broker. And in his first 6 months as a self-employed mortgage broker, he earned just £2,000. So he had no money, he was failing at his job, and he was like, oh, God, there's got to be a better way. And you know what? He read a book. Now, a book can change your life, but it's not going to get you to financial freedom. Would you like me to tell you what that book was, ladies and gents? Yes or no? That book is called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Raise your hands if you've read that book. Yeah? Look at this. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Now, you've got some pencils and paper. I recommend you read that book. Okay? As I said, a book can change your life, but it's not going to get you to financial freedom. This was the book that started the whole thing off for Aaron, because it switched his head on. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, write it down, by Robert T. Kiyosaki. Do you know what? This is great, because it's the first time in a number of these seminars I'm actually able to spell his name. Robert's really easy, but Kiyosaki, ladies and gentlemen, is spelled K-I-Y-O-S-A-K-I. Okay? Fantastic book. So he read that book and he started coming to seminars just like this one. And he thought, you know what? I'm going to get into property. But let me tell you, his first 10 properties were complete disaster. He had one tenant that had a rave in his property and burnt it down. Literally burnt the property down. He got ripped off by a rogue property sourcer, and he ended up having a tenant, or tenants in this property, that were paying him less rent than the mortgage, and he was tied into it. He had lots of tenants not paying him, he had lots of maintenance issues. It was a massive headache. Until one day, when he committed to mastering. We'll be talking about mastery today, but let me tell you what he did. So he came to a seminar just like this one, about the same number of people, but about the eighth the size of the room. Really hot and sweaty, everybody squeezed in like sardines. And he was the last person to get to this seminar. He was late, and he wasn't all that enthusiastic about the seminar actually, because he didn't really know what to expect. So, he was at the back of the room. Imagine this is the door. He's at the back of the room, close to the door, so that he can make a quick exit if what he's hearing is a load of rubbish. Now here's the thing. We've learned by our mistakes, the doors are closed and locked. If you try to get out, we get you the paintball guns. So he's at the back of this room, waiting for this guy to come on stage. And the guy came on stage and he said, he was a bit struggling with this guy. He stood up and he said, ladies and gentlemen, the first 5 properties that I bought was a complete disaster. I had loads of maintenance issues, I had tenants not paying the rent, it was horrible. Aaron's back here thinking, hang on a second, this guy's talking to me. This is my life. Then he said something really interesting that caught Aaron's attention. He said, but let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, in the last 18 months, I have bought 80 properties, 80 properties. Now Aaron's thinking, so he was there, and he's got 80 properties. I need to listen to this guy. You see, the challenge for us is, ladies and gents, is that we may be somewhere over here in our lives at the moment. Where we want to get to is financial freedom. The challenge is that between us and financial freedom is this great big jungle. And in the jungle there are some scary animals and some scary plants that can kill you. And what we want to do is we want to get through the jungle so we can get to financial freedom. And what most of us do is we go to our kitchen cupboard and we get out a butter knife and we start attacking this jungle to try and make our way through and cut our own path to financial freedom. And then we wonder why 3 years in we're still on our hands and knees sawing away at the bark of a 300-year-old oak tree and our hands are bleeding and we can't even see financial freedom anymore. And yet, just 3 feet away, somebody else has cut a path through that jungle to financial freedom. And if you just committed to following them down that path, you get to financial freedom too. So what Aaron did at that moment is he made a decision. I'm going to give you a quotation. It's not my quotation. This quotation comes from a guy called Tony Robbins, Anthony Robbins. Raise your hands if you've heard of him. Okay, a few people in the room. By the way, these people that are putting their hands up for books and personal development, these are the people I want in my property team, because you guys are already committed to mastery, because you're already learning more. But let me tell you what Tony says. You might want to write this down, because I think this is really important, this quotation. Tony says that it is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. In your moments of decision, your destiny is shaped. You see, Aaron was literally 3 seconds away from leaving that room. What path would he have been on if he had left that room? But just that one seminar switched on his mind and he realized that he needed to find the best property investor in the UK and he needed to follow them down the path to his financial freedom. And that is called mastery. Basically, mastery, it's copying what someone else has done, so that you don't have to go through the jungle ill-equipped with a pair of scissors or a butter knife to try and cut your own way through. Guys, if that makes sense, just raise your hands for me. Great. It's so key. We're going to be looking at mastery in more detail today. You get nothing else out of today. Mastery is an important thing. So, obviously, we've got a new story. The first 10 properties were a disaster. He committed to mastery to learn from the best property investor in the UK. And guess what? He gets himself to financial freedom. Him and his wife Layla were at financial freedom within a decade. Now, financial freedom means different things for different people. For Aaron and Layla, what it meant was that everything that needed to be taken care of financially was well taken care of. Everything he wanted to be taken care of was taken care of, plus some really groovy stuff on top of that as well. So having become financially free himself, and then helping other people invest in properties, one of his clients, a guy called John Turnbull, larger than life figure, he's no longer with us unfortunately, but he actually said to Aaron, he said, you know what Aaron, it's great that you have become financially free yourself, and it's amazing that you're helping other people become financially free, but not everybody wants your company to do it for them. Some people actually want to learn this stuff themselves. In other words, they want to commit to their own mastery. So why don't you teach them? And he said, well, you know what? I'm not really a teacher. I'm more of an investor. I love doing the deals. But at that time, Aaron had started doing some webinars. And some people were turning up to these webinars and loving the information that they were getting. Raise your hands if you've actually seen some of Aaron's webinars. Can I see your hands, please? Okay, so this was over a decade ago. Okay? So he said, okay, you know what, I'll give it a try. But Aaron, unlike me, is a detailed geek. He doesn't mind, he won't mind me saying that. You know, we need all shades in the world. Some people are detailed geeks, others are blue sky thinkers. Aaron happens to be a detailed geek. So before he started on this journey, he wanted to do some research. So he took 18 months to do some research to find out how to coach and train people to become financially free from property. So what he did was, first and foremost, he examined the kind of mindset, skills, abilities, experience and expertise that he had to get in order to become financially free, him and his wife Leah. He then interviewed 100 of our done-for-you clients that had already achieved financial freedom to understand their skill set, their mindset, their experience and their expertise as well. But that still wasn't good enough. He actually interviewed 50 people who had got themselves to financial freedom and were consistently making more than £100,000 a year. Not just one-off, year after year after year. Passive income from property. And he interviewed them to find out what their skills and mindset and knowledge and all the others. It still wasn't good enough. Because I think you'll agree with me, just like him, he had met many intelligent, articulate people who had the resources, maybe they had the time and the money, to actually get a property portfolio off the ground. And for whatever reason, some of them hadn't even started on that journey to get to financial freedom. Maybe it was fear that stopped them. Or, for some of them, they'd got so far that maybe got 2 or 3 properties and then they'd run out of money, or they were finding that it wasn't working for them, and they'd stopped. And they hadn't. Now, 2 or 3 properties, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't got any investment properties, 2 or 3 properties is pretty cool, as long as they're cash flow and they're making you money. But you probably need more like 8, 9 or 10 to get yourself to financial freedom. It's not enough. So he wanted to understand what was it that was missing with these people that they hadn't got themselves to financial freedom. Because it's all right knowing what the success stories are, but we also need to know what the mistakes are, right? So, with all of that research, 18 months of painstaking research, he realized that success leaves clues. And he was able to identify patterns of mindset, skills, knowledge, attributes, and he condensed that into a system, an easy to follow system, that any one of you could follow too. Any one of you. The results. He came up with a model where he realized that there are 10 core skills and strategies that you need to master in order to become financially free. And if you can get yourself to an 8, a 9, or a 10 out of 10 on all of those core skills and strategies, you will get to financial freedom. But here's the really scary thing. If 1 or 2 of those are missing, or they're only a 4 or 5 out of 10, it's never going to happen. Would it be useful to you if I told you what those 10 core skills were? Yes or no? Yes. Oh, yes or no, guys? Yes. This is proprietary information that's going to change your life, so I'm glad you're excited about it. I am going to share it with you in this morning's session. Okay. So, what's the result? The result is that over the last 3 years, we've educated more than 20,000 people on this system to become financially free. And the results that they're achieving, our clients are getting returns of 50, 80, 130%, 200% plus within 5 years consistently, year after year after year. People like this guy, Parag. Now, Parag was a really successful businessman. You know, I said, intelligent, articulate people who had tried this property investing and it hadn't worked for them. By the time we met Parag, he'd already been trying to invest in property for a decade, and he'd only got himself 3 properties. And this is a guy who was a very intelligent, successful business person. And literally, within months of us teaching him what he needed to do, look at the results. His portfolio went from 3 to 10 properties in 1 year. Now, everybody, when they want to become financially free, they do it for a different reason. Everyone has a different reason why. I'll share with you, Parag's given me permission to share with you what his why was. For him and his wife, it was about building and living in their forever dream home. Within 2 years of doing that, they had achieved it. They built their forever dream home. You see, remember what I said, when Aaron first started out, he had no property experience, no landlord experience, no money, and he's achieved all of this, and he's helped clients like Parag achieve it too. And there's nothing to say that you can do exactly the same thing. You see, the beauty of property is that it gives us the ability not just to make money, but also to buy time. Because there are plenty of people out there, I think you'll agree with me, who look rich. In other words, they're earning lots of money, but wouldn't you agree with me that most of those people who are earning lots of money, either in a great job or through their business, they're looking rich because generally they're spending most of that money to make themselves feel better about all the hours and the stress that they have to go through. So they get a bigger house and a bigger car. Great. Being wealthy is not about having a great income. Being wealthy is about having the income and the time. You see, what most unsuccessful people do, ladies and gentlemen, is we trade our time for money. We trade our precious hours on this planet for money. How much? The average person in the UK at this moment in time earns £24,000 a year. Now, if that's a 37.5-hour week, just think about that for a second. They are trading their precious hours on this planet for £12. Now, I don't know about you, but I think my time on this planet is worth more than £12 an hour. Would you agree with me, yes or no?
Yes.
And we've only got 4,000 weeks each, if we're lucky. So we really want to make the most of it. So it's not about trading your time for money, making somebody else rich. We work hard for money when we're working for somebody else or working for ourselves. What successful, wealthy people do is they trade their money for time. Or they trade their money for more money. And how cool would it be if it was other people's money that you were trading for your time? Who would like to learn how to trade other people's money for you more time in your life? Raise your hand if you would. And I want to ask you this before we get started today. Who is ready in this room to learn how to make money work hard for them instead of them working hard for money? If you're ready, raise your hand and say, aye.
Aye.
So let's do it. I'm going to show you this. So let me talk to you first of all about how we're going to do this today, okay? We've got a few sessions for you today, and I want to get a lot of content in for you. I am passionate, absolutely passionate about giving you the best value that I can today, so I've got a lot of content to get into you. Would it be okay, because you can see behind me that we've actually planned some sessions for you, would it be okay if I prioritise the content that I want to get into you, rather than you holding me to a military precision and getting you to breaks on time? Would that be okay, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Great, well lunch is at 3:30 then. Is that okay?
No.
Well look, I will absolutely make sure I get you pretty much to lunch on time, because I don't want a bunch of hangry people looking back at me this afternoon. But I'm definitely going to prioritise the content that I want to get into you today, rather than actually getting to break exactly at 11:15. Okay, so I've got some rules of the game, and the number one rule of the game, well actually, what I'd like you to do, please, ladies and gents, is take out your mobile phones. I know you've got them, so take them out. Could you take out your mobile phones for me? Please play along. Just get your phones out. You'll enjoy this, I promise. Get your phones out, it's really important. So I'm going to share all of this stuff with you today. All I want you to do in return for me is just what Simon said. So if I ask you to do something, come on, just get your phones out. Now what I want you to do is not turn them off. Absolutely not. Don't turn them off. Put them onto camera mode. Okay? And then put them onto selfie mode. Okay, now when I say go, what I want you to do is get a selfie with as many smiling, happy people in the room behind you as you possibly can. Okay? So if you're ready, 1, 2, 3, go. Take your selfie with as many smiling, happy people in the room as you can. You're beautiful! You're all beautiful! I got you in there. I got you in there. Absolutely, because you've got Rich Dad Poor Dad in your back, so I've definitely got you in there. Okay, guys, now, I'm going to tell you what, please do not delete that selfie. It's a very important selfie. By the end of the day, I'm going to tell you what to do with that selfie. And that selfie is going to help change your life, and it's going to help change other people's lives as well. So please keep those selfies, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do with them later. Now, you can switch it off, or put it to silent, okay? I'm going to go hard on anyone whose phone goes off during the session. It's distracting for me, and it's distracting for other people. So, there's going to be a penalty if your phone goes off during this session. So you better tell your mum, don't phone me today. I'll tell you what the penalty is going to be. If your phone goes off during the session, you are buying one of Aaron's books. Now some of you are thinking, that's not much of a penalty, because they're usually 15 quid, and today we're selling them I think for a tenner. So, oh! You are so lucky! That's your last chance. Right, now listen, you're not buying the book for yourself. Okay? So if your phone goes off, you're buying a book, and you're going to buy it for somebody of my choice. By the way, who has already read this book? Raise your hands if you've already read the book. Nice and high, please. Look around the room. A lot of people already read the book. You people are now a little bit more familiar about the expert that I'm going to be talking to you about today, and his proprietary information. By the way, just raise your hands if you would like to read the book, please. Raise your hands if you'd like a copy of the book. Raise your hands if you would like a copy of the book if you haven't already got one. Who would like a copy of the book? Who would like a copy of the book? Who would like a copy of the book? Yeah. This chap, Israel, give him a massive round of applause. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in all seriousness, let me tell you something here today. I'm not just looking to give you a whole bunch of content here today. Not at all. I'm looking for action takers. In this room, there are action takers. In this room, there are people who have already committed that whatever it is in their life that they don't like, they're going to make sure that that doesn't happen like that for the next 20 years. They have already committed that they are going to get themselves, by mastery, to financial freedom. I'm guessing that you're one of those guys. You see, the thing is, it is so easy to come to one of these seminars and learn some great stuff and take some great notes, and guess what? Go away and do nothing with it. And if you do nothing with it for a couple of weeks, it becomes a couple of months. You do nothing with it for a couple of months, it becomes a couple of years. You do nothing with it for a couple of years, it becomes a decade. And when you get 20 years down the line and you look back and you say, I could have done it, that's when you're going to regret it. Again, if that makes sense, raise your hands for me. I'm looking for action takers here today for a very personal reason. It pains me to say it. I was at a seminar like this, just like you, and I learned some great stuff, and I got excited in the seminar, and I was like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and guess what? I did nothing. For 18 months, I did nothing. And it was eating away at the back of my mind. I'm doing nothing, I'm doing nothing, I'm doing nothing. Eventually, I committed to mastery. When I got myself financially free, I looked back at how much that 18 months had cost me. To this day, it's cost me more than £300,000. I'm passionate about making sure that you take action from this stuff today, move forward and make it happen for yourself. Because if you don't, it's just been a waste of your time and it's been a waste of my time. So raise your hands if you already feel that you're likely to take action from today. Raise your hands and say aye. Aye. Great. So I'm looking for more action takers today, and I promise you I'm going to reward the action takers in the room. So there's a couple more rules of the game that I want to talk to you about. Number one is try my jacket on for size. Now I haven't got a jacket on today because it's too warm, but it's just an analogy. You see, challenge is, me and Carl can have a conversation. And during the process of the conversation, I might say something that Carl doesn't like, doesn't agree with, he's got a different opinion, or something that he already knows. And what might happen is, Carl might then say, do you know what, I'm not going to listen to anything else this guy says. Okay? He's got a choice of 7 billion other people on the planet to go and talk to. The challenge, though, is that I might say something later on that would really make a difference in your life, and you've actually shut yourself off to that learning. Now, I promise you, for some of you, today I'm going to say stuff that you don't like, you don't agree with, doesn't fit with your current frame of thinking. It may be that you already know it, and the challenge therefore is that you might miss something. Just one nugget can change your life. You might miss something. So I'm going to ask you just to, while you're with me today, just to relax in the moment and try my jacket on, because this stuff has helped over 200,000 people in the last 3 decades. There's no reason why I can't help you. So don't shut yourself off to any of those learnings. By the way, I know, I talked about, if you already know this stuff, I know the 2 most expensive words in property investing, the 2 most expensive words in business, the 2 most expensive words in life. Because if you already know everything and your cup is already full, there's no room for anything else. Can we all already know everything? Of course not. And wouldn't you agree with me that if we already did most of the stuff we already knew would already be more successful. Yes or no? Well, yes or no, guys? Yes. I mean, do you not know people who probably know they shouldn't smoke? Yeah? There's plenty of stuff that if we already knew, if we already did what we already knew, we'd be more successful. So try and jack it off the size. But what I'm going to say is that by the end of the day, some of you will get to the end of the day and you'll say, you know what, Jack, it's not for me, I'm going to leave it behind. That's fine. It's not what changes, it's not going to change my life, it's what changes your life that matters to me here today. For some of you, you'll get to the end of the day and you'll say, you know what, I like this bit, but I didn't agree with that, I don't like it, I already knew that, I don't like it, that's fine. You'll go with a nice body warmer then, won't you? And then for others, you're going to say, this jacket's pretty freaking cool. I'm going to take it, I'm going to use it, I'm taking action straight away. So what I'm going to ask you to do is just try my jacket off the sides, listen to the stuff that I've got to talk to you about today, take notes, and let's get plenty of action after we finish it today. Next, I want you to network, I want you to have fun, and I want you to participate, okay? In this room, as I said, there are action takers already. These are people who are already committed to taking action immediately when they leave this room, because they're not happy with where they are or they've got a vision of being somewhere better. In this room, there are people with more than £1 million to invest in property. And in this room, there are people who have got the time to invest in property as well. So network. Please don't go to break with the people you came with. You can speak to them for the rest of your life. Speak to the like-minded individuals, and I'm going to be asking for hand raises, and you're going to look around the room and see who do you want to speak to at break time, who might be somebody who you can learn from and share experience with and start to network with. So are we all okay to make sure that when we go to lunch and when we have breaks, we're going to do some networking? Yes or no?
Yes.
Great. Next, have fun. Let's have a bit of fun. I'm going to try and get you to enjoy this as much as possible, because I know for a fact that if you enjoy it, you'll learn more. Who remembers a really boring class that they had at school? And you probably learned nothing, right? Yeah? Well, I want to make sure that you have a bit of fun and participate. I'm going to ask for your participation because, number one, it'll engage your brain and keep you active. It's hot. If we don't do that, your energy is going to fall, and I promise you won't learn as much. So I'm going to ask for your participation throughout the day. I've talked about content versus breaks. I'm absolutely going to prioritize that. Now let me tell you about these hand raises. For some of you, you're thinking he's got this irritating habit of asking me to raise my hand all the time. There's a very good reason. I've been doing this for a decade, and I know that movement connects with your brain. It creates a neurological connection with your brain. Movement in your body creates a new emotion.